First of all, if you are a fan, please just take a second and hit the bell. I do not bombard you with a ton of nothing, like some folks. It's careful, thought out content, maybe 1, maybe 2 times a week. It's like 10 minutes, 20 minutes of stuff. Help me out, hit the bell. Let's go.
I don't think we can use that.
Shut up, chicken. Roll the show.
Opening night. Now let's go through everything that you might have missed opening night. And this will absolutely be out of order. Okay, nowhere but here. We gotta start with this one. This right here is telling, because apparently an ankle snapping, an ankle taking a solo abrupt right turn, it elicits the same reaction as somebody getting dunked on, brutally dunked on. If you didn't know what happened here, and you just watched this bench reaction here, if you just watched this bench reaction right here, that looks similar to when somebody gets dunked on. Watch this. Oh, look away, hands on head, leaning back, getting up, getting out, which is interesting, right? I mean, look at this one. If you literally don't know anything about basketball, you would think this was a reaction to something ugly. Oh, look away, hands on head, getting up, getting out. Dunk reactions are the same as gruesome bone exposing injury reactions, which proves my theory that we, as a species, we are genuinely, humanly empathetic for those who get dunked on. It's not fake, it's not for show. Our psyches process this in a primal, sympathetic way. Except with the dunk, there's usually a turn to joy, and that would just be inappropriate for an injury. Okay, also on to Gordon. Let's just talk real here. Why are people acting like this guy is like a certified champ? I mean, hashtag pray for Gordon, hashtag get better Gordon. Yeah, I mean, there's not like a limit on the amount we can pray or wish well, but like the man wasn't shot. And it's not like he just came off a team where he led them deep into some sort of playoff scenario. I mean, let's just be honest here. Very few people care about Gordon the human here. People are really reacting to, well, the look of it, and then secondary, what it does for the NBA and their teams. And he's not there yet, right? I mean, he could be like a 2011 Josh Smith, or even a Steve Smith. You know, like maybe he's good, but in the end, non-consequential. Not really the difference maker. We don't really know. So when one of these question mark players gets hurt, our instinct is to suppose they are their best case scenario. But really, look out for that. When a relevant player gets hurt, or a solid role player on a good team gets hurt, watch the people make them out to be the missing piece.
Nene's going to be out of the postseason with a abductor tear. What's the impact with no Nene? And I'll start with you, Amin.
Oh, I think this is big.
Patrick Beverly, Kendrick Perkins. And again, you know, still, get well. Hashtag get well, buddy, with your scientifically cutting edge sports medicine. I'm sure he will be getting better as fast as mutantly possible. Do you remember Serge Ibaka when he had that season-ending injury in the playoffs in 2014? And then 3 days later, he was playing again in a professional basketball playoff game, blocking shots. Okay, science, that's not magic. It's not his genetics. Athletes have access to procedures and treatments most folks have never heard of. And you know what? When he was out, you know what they did? They made him seem like he was the only thing that could get the Thunder past the Spurs. And then when he came back, they made it seem like he was the shining, glowing savior who just 3 days later returned. And he was their hope. And you know what? The Thunder, they came back to lose the series anyway, with him on the floor, and then he was gone a year or two later. Was he really the piece? Or do folks just put all their hopes and dreams on the broken ankles of the injured? Because it gives us an out.
What do you guys think, Scotty? I mean, you watched the end of that. I mean, at halftime, we heard the TNT guys. Chuck said, okay, their season's over.
Alright, anyway. I mean, the man got an owie. Now he's in a bed, chilling, cashing checks. He doesn't need our prayers.
I'm gonna be alright.
It's not like he was even that great. Okay, and one more thing about these type of injuries. I need to do some research on this disgusting, gruesome, bone-snapping scenario. I don't know if this is a modern thing. Is it a sock thing? Is it a compression pant thing with sleeves and pants? Are the shoes holding people's ankles in too tight? This didn't happen back in earlier days. I mean, people with their slippery ass Chuck Taylors and dusty basketball floors doubling as a convention center earlier in the day for a horse show. They might have sprained ankles, they might have bruised themselves, but they were not getting bone-snapping injuries. This is new-ish. And that's what happens as a sport develops, as athletes progress, new injuries and risks develop. I mean, the worst injury I can even find is that Rudy Tomjanovich getting punched in the face injury that really screwed him up. I mean, really, help me out here. Try. Let me know if I'm wrong. I'd like some help here. Can we find one of these gruesome injuries in early basketball? All right, I'm gonna need the Wilt Chamberlain archives to dig into the history of this. Okay, just a comment on the new season. In this game here, we've got LeBron James, we've got Kyrie Irving, we've got real feelings. But something happens later in the season, usually around playoff time. Players and fans start talking mess, saying stuff like the regular season didn't matter, dismissing all the emotions and the commitment and the energy we all put into these types of games like opening night. I'm gonna get more into this later, but it all matters. It's all important. And we keep cycling through this process acting like the thing that happened before doesn't matter. It always matters. Okay, and on this, when is somebody just gonna come out on the court fully dressed? Like full warm-ups. I mean, essentially what we're looking at here with Dwyane Wade, with his full-length compression pants, shirt, and one sleeve. He is one sleeve away from being completely dressed. That's ridiculous. I mean, what's the point of the shorts anymore? People are basically wearing yoga pants. So, I mean, this is something that is getting a little out of hand. You've heard of a burkini? A burkini is what some Muslim women wear to go to the beach but remain covered up completely. This is like the burkini of basketball. I mean, just go ahead, Dwyane Wade. I mean, he already looks like he plays at a rec center with the black shirt under that. Just put another sleeve on, throw on a collar, call it a day. Okay, here we go. This was pretty interesting. This is the Warriors Championship ring ceremony opening night, and in a prior video I let everybody know my feelings on the banner system. That was pretty dramatic there. And I said after they won the championship that I sure hope they just redesign the damn thing, because right now it looks like a template. These banners, these old banners are ridiculous. There's so much waste of space, and it really looks like somebody said, okay, this is where the stuff's gonna go when we're finished designing it. And they decided to keep that up. Instead of big empty space, they at least put the logo, but they think that they have to continue with the theme of nothingness and lack of creativity into the modern era here. Like I said before, you gotta do the ones that have the actual trophy on it. Some gold, it makes it look regal, important. In this case, it looks boring. By the way, this is Festus Ezeli. He played for the Warriors, he won a ring with the Warriors, then he got dumped. And for a while, when he was injured, because he's been injured a lot, you know what they used to say about him? We think he's the one. We think he's the piece. Also, this net. I'm okay with it, but it makes me think that she went up to dunk and got her neck caught in the rim. Anyway, back to the banner. And I was waiting and hoping that they would not do it again. And what did they do? Oh no. Just get a clean break, clean start. You got 5 more of these coming. Clean start. And this happened. So they're digging in. They're basically digging in. This is it. For the rest of history and throughout sports time, we're gonna have these cheap wedding invitations. This is ridiculous. This doesn't look like a championship banner. I mean, how easy is it to superimpose a trophy here? I'm just messing around. Look at this. So if anybody is a professional designer, I would love to see you submit something to make these banners look better. Okay, all right, let's move on. The Warriors decided that they were gonna have season ticket holders hand out the rings or bring the boxes over. And I do not think it was a good idea. You watch here, you constantly have some elderly person walking away, or some underdressed gentleman carrying a box. So you got these old people, fans, carrying giant shoe boxes over, and then they're like, well, where do we go? Here, there's this one where this lady, watch the lady here. She's like, what do I do? Where do I go? They show the whole lineup. There they go. There's the lineup of fans. There they go. The guy, it's like, he showed up in shorts, and they were like, can you toss a jacket on? All right, let's fast forward to the end of the Warriors-Rockets game and to a spot, an example of what I think is the worst type of buzzer-beating ending in basketball, in sports. Here we go. All right, we all know what happened here. We all know that it didn't count. What's sad is just the wasted energy. The recalled buzzer beater is the worst dramatic finish. I'll give it to you that it's dramatic and it's a last possession deciding play, but it's the worst of all of them. It's the worst of the best. Look, all this wasted energy. And you know what's funny here? When he hit the shot, he clearly knew that it was too late because he was not excited. Here he goes. He knows. He knows. He's not in his aggressive stance. He's not staring into Steph Curry's eyes. He knows that it didn't count. But they still go through the motions. It's like, is it worth telling him, oh no, it didn't count? Does he think that the refs aren't gonna pick it up and see that it didn't count? There's like 2 people in here that know. These guys in the red shirts, the smart ones, and Kevin Durant. I think Clay knows. Not fat Clay, but regular Clay. Yeah, Clay knows. And I don't know, there needs to be some sort of, not rule, but just understanding in these type of situations. Just pretend that the replays don't work. I mean, do you remember this play here with Anthony Davis? This double pump finish.
Very close to a 5-second count. Davis has the buzzer for the win. And the
This was a beautiful play, but then we stood around waiting for them to certify it. This was so annoying. And we didn't even get a celebration out of Anthony Davis because he thought maybe it didn't count. He didn't want to waste his time. And I keep harping on this. This is really, it's about what is editable, what we can throw into a montage. And you got to do some serious work to make this one into something we want to see in a montage that makes sense.
snap for each other, and the ball game is over.
Also, poor announcer. Marv's putting his A game out there, trying to make it iconic.
Livingston on the backdrop. Played by Curry. Gets to the rim. He fires. He scores! It will count!
Instead, it will be erased and lost to history. Wasted time, wasted words. It's like we get to see an alternate history real quick. That's kind of what it's like. That's interesting at least. Do you remember this one? The famous Reggie Miller one, right? The Pacers versus the Nets. Here we go. This is a great one.
This is both. O'Neal the rebound. Kevin Ollie brings it up. Throws it across. Miller to Dwyane. Oh! He backed it in! He backed it in! And the game is tied! We're going to overtime!
I believe that's Mike Breen. A young Mike Breen. Banks it in. And it was clearly after the buzzer. It wasn't even close. When people look back at this, it was so far after the buzzer. But you know what? In the spirit of the game, back in the Tim Donaghy era, where they made different types of referee decisions, it didn't matter. 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ball is in the man's hand. He's still barely off the floor, and we're at 0. Now it's out. Now. It's been 0 for almost 4 frames here, which is like a 1/6 of a second. I don't know, is that right? 6 times 4, 24. But they let that go. And we all knew it was late. Reggie knew it was late, but they weren't going to replay back then. And I'm not saying no replay is better. We want to get it right, but this just makes for a better story. Come on. All right, enough of that. I mean, just how dumb do people look, all that wasted energy? Okay. The handshakes. One day I'll make a full video on the handshakes. Kevin Love needs these. We've talked about this before. Kevin Love lives for these moments. This is his true acceptance, are these handshakes. So are you kidding me? Of course he was gonna wait around in line for Kyrie Irving to get his little off-kilter, pieced-together handshake, which looks like it's full of mistakes. Next thing on handshakes, no floppy fingers. I mean, unless your life is at stake, unless your handshake is a do-or-die scenario, there's no need for this floppy hand web gap mash like this one. Listen, this is not the position you want to be in right after slapping skin with your buddy. So whatever rehearsals you're doing with your buddies or your team, just leave out the floppy web mashing dangle fingers. Just keep it above board here. Like this one. Okay, I think that is it for our opening night recap review on what you definitely missed. Remember, we are pro NBA. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise here. All right, and go ahead and hit the like bell button. Hit some buttons. Just hit some buttons. All right. Enjoy the season. We're not going to do a lot of these things that are topical because we don't cover topical or timely. We do timeless. And if you're new here, all 50,000 of our videos are relevant at all times. Nothing goes out of date here. because we cover the stuff that folks on other channels don't cover. All right, it's not a good tagline. All right, stay hungry. Questions for breakfast, answers for lunch. All right, just stop me when I got something good. And question who's feeding you your stories. All right. Oh, and one more thing. If you want your hat to sponsor the show, just send it to me or hit me up on the back end of my channel and I will review it. I will wear it if it's worthy.